12 years ago, almost down to the date, I delivered my first project to a design client. And over those 12 years that I've been working, I've learned so much about design, brand strategy, and business, not only by building my own, but also by having the pleasure of seeing the inside of dozens and dozens of other people's businesses, what worked for them and what didn't work. And I'm going to tell you in less than 12 minutes what it took me 12 years to learn. 1, you are the project. Until you're able to rebrand yourself, your business will never be able to evolve and expand past its current state. 2, no one is coming to give you permission. So start before you're ready. Iterate out loud. 3, healing your self-worth is a business strategy. Pricing, boundaries, pursuing visibility, all start with what you believe you deserve. 4, opportunity cost is a real thing. Saying yes to something is saying no to something else. And saying yes to everything is the quickest way to erode your vision long term and give it up to everybody and everything that comes your way, whether it was part of your plan and your intention or not. 5, sunk cost fallacy is also a very real thing. Staying in a situation that no longer fits, whether it's finishing out a client project that just simply isn't working out and is now costing you more than it's giving, sticking it through and retraining a staff member who you know deep down is never going to work out in the long term for your business, or even continuing to pursue a dream that seemed like a great idea on the outset, but now that you're moving and progressing into that direction, you've realized that it's ill-fitted with what you want to do. All will cost you far more than pivoting, even if you've already sunk in a lot of time, effort, and money into it in the past. It's easy to hyperfixate on what you've already done instead of thinking about what more there's left to do and how you could better reallocate that energy and those resources. 6, it's not your job to educate everyone. There are 2 groups of people, those who are ready, willing, and desire to be taught by you, and those who honestly just need a mirror and some time of self-reflection. You do not owe your energy to both. That first group, those are the people that I'm generous with my time and want to work and hear their pushback and get into that healthy friction and discussion with. The second group of people, those who are just looking for affirmation, those are not people that we should put energy into educating. It's just going to become frustrating. That doesn't mean that you can't collaborate with those people, but just know where you're putting your energy and your effort and who you're pouring into and why. Now let's move into the second category, business and strategy. Every entrepreneur is a salesperson, at least at first. We've all been there. I think most of us don't really like doing sales and have thought maybe I can just hire a salesperson or a business developer to be able to generate leads and then convert and close them for me. It is always money wasted. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for some of you who are very into this, you have to be good at sales to grow your business to a certain point. And then when it's generating its own leads and there's enough buzz around it and you've reached a certain point of success, it becomes a lot easier to outsource your sales process and actually see a return on investment with those hires. 8, if you don't have reach, your brilliance will not matter. It doesn't matter how beautiful your product or your service is, or honestly, even how stellar your branding is. If nobody's seeing it, nobody's buying it, you're not going to have any cash flow to continue to pour into bettering your product, service, or branding. And to balance that, number 9, fear of investing in strategy is a very costly mistake. Especially when you're in the beginning of your business growth journey, it's easy to only want to spend money on things that give you a direct and immediate return on investment. So thinking about things like ad spend, where you're hoping that every cent you put into Google or Meta ads will come back to you in form of a sale. But branding de-risks your marketing, and marketing dollars spent without a strategy are honestly just a very expensive gamble. 10. A beautiful brand without a backbone is just decoration. Now, this one was a hard pill for me to swallow. In my first few years as a designer, I was just that, a visual designer. I was making gorgeous logos, picking out gorgeous fonts and colors. But I realized very quickly that branding without strategy just doesn't convert in the same way. Strategy is like the spine of a brand, if you think of it like a human body. And I knew that if I wanted my clients to be paying me a premium price, then I needed to get them return on investment. And the quick solution to that was to implement strategy behind every single design move that we were making. Graphic designers, and honestly even talented graphic designers, are a dime a dozen, but strategists are a little bit harder to come by. Which leads into number 11, your creativity is not the product your thinking is. Whatever aesthetic you're producing, whether it be through a jewelry item, a clothing item, or even a service that looks and feels a certain way, may be seductive to your potential buyers. The clarity, the framework, the process, that's what sells. 12. No business leader or wealthy person is ever buying a product or service for what it is. They are buying an outcome, whether it be a business outcome, a lifestyle outcome, a feeling outcome. 13. Your network will compound in value much faster than your portfolio of work or products ever will. Relationships open doors that your resume never could. And anybody who's ever been on the corporate job market knows that it's oftentimes not what you know, but who you know. And the same thing is true, perhaps even truer, in the world of business and entrepreneurship. Your network truly is your net worth. And getting out there, speaking to people, building relationships, having friends in business is truly the key to growth in so many areas. As you step into leadership, it is just simply not valuable for you to be spending your time on certain tasks. You need to get ruthless about which task your time and attention is best spent in to create value for the business, and where you can outsource that either to a team member that you hire or an agency or a consultant who might actually be better at doing that thing than you are. It's not honorable to martyr yourself into working every single layer of your business. We hear stories constantly of the business leader who's a multimillionaire but will still come and sweep the floor. And as pretty as that story is on the surface, and as much as that might have value in other ways, on a strategic and a practical level, it's actually doing every staff, employee, team member, your family, anybody who's related to or impacted by your business, a disservice to be having your hands in tasks that either you are not well suited for, that you're better off getting an expert consultant in, or that you may be able to do with excellence. However, it doesn't create much value for the business. I bet that your employees would rather you go and get more clients or be talking to the press and getting more sales so that their salary is 100% going to be paid than taking on their menial day-to-day tasks. Final section 3, creative leadership. Lesson number 15 is that doing great work in silence does not build a business. Put simply, visibility builds trust, and trust builds demand. Demand builds revenue. 16. Your best work may not always be for sale. Thought leadership, speaking, being in the press, writing, teaching, mentoring, creating work just simply for your website or your portfolio purposes, creating art rather than your commodity products, is how you future-proof your voice and create legacy IP. 17. Perception is built in the details. When I was 14 years old, I worked in a restaurant, and I was tasked often to set the tables before the dinner rush came in. We would put the forks and the knives on the left and the wine glass on the right. And after doing this to dozens of tables in a row, sometimes I would get a little sloppy. A fork might be a millimeter crooked, and my manager would scold me. I responded back respectfully but sternly one day, and I said, what does it matter? Mind you, this was no Michelin star or fine dining restaurant, so I really didn't think that it should be such a big deal, and I thought speed was important here. Time is of the essence. This is just one of our opening tasks, and I'd like to get on to something else. But he said something to me that completely changed the way that I viewed business and work for the rest of my life. Sometimes it's the absence of imperfection, the absence of messiness that allows people to feel taken care of and perceive an atmosphere, an environment, and a business as exceptional. Your first hire should not just be somebody who takes tasks from you, but should be someone who amplifies your energy. My very first hire is still with me today, years later, and I rapidly, the moment that I realized I could trust him, evolved him out of a place in my business of just doing what I say into a partner and a soundboard who was with me every step of the way, was coming to every client meeting, and could give a different perspective and opinion on each business move that we make. Having a great team and speaking to them honestly and leveraging all of their perspectives and their subjectivity on life is some of the greatest leverage you can have for your business. And lastly, hearkening back to something that I mentioned in the business strategy section, aesthetic is not a strategy, but it can be a Trojan horse for one. Beauty builds the doorway towards transformation. I always say messages not told beautifully fall on deaf ears. My name's Tosin, and I'm the founding principal of Atelier Oluwatosin. We are 360-degree brand strategy and design consultancy. Over the last 12 years, I've had the honor of working with businesses from tiny mom and pop shops all the way to billion-dollar enterprises that are household names. And I would love to talk through your specifics, no matter where you are on your entrepreneurship or business leadership journey or what size of organization that you're a part of. We post content that educates and inspires. So please subscribe, engage, continue referencing back our videos, and we will talk to you very soon.